Hey everybody, I'm Howard, and this is Otter's Retirement Corner. Okay, so life threw me a Social Security curveball. My wife quit her job. Not blaming her for anything. She, felt that the stress levels were too high in her position, and we all go through that, and she quit her job. So, as you know, right now I'm coming up on 68. My wife is 56. Don't tell her I told you. The plan has always been that she would work until 60, 62. And I would start collecting Social Security at 70, and she would start collecting at 62, which, based upon actuarial tables and life expectancies, would maximize our lifetime benefits. All right, so the whole point of this video is not, oh, woe is me. The point is, every time something happens in life that you don't expect, and it will, you have to reassess where you are and what you're going to do with Social Security and your whole financial outlook. So what I've done here is just drawn up a little idea of what I just did and the exercise I went through. Now, I'm not going to use my real numbers. My wife would prefer I don't. I don't mind doing that, but my wife would rather I didn't. So I'm going to draw up some numbers here that give you an idea of the exercise I've just gone through that asks, hey, do I need to change my plans? Do I need to start Social Security earlier, or am I still okay waiting till 70? And I'm doing this under this scenario that my wife does not go back to work. In other words, a worst case scenario. What if we, as right now, have no income? Because right now, except the meager amount of money I earn from YouTube, in essence, zero. And my wife has no income. Where are we? So I'm going to go on the assumption that she doesn't get a job. If she gets a job, relatively soon, we just go back to, I'm going to wait till I'm 70 and, we'll be fine. Either way, we'll be fine. But here's an idea what you have to do when something like that happens. So don't let this, intimidate you. This is some real easy numbers I'm going to go through. Let's say in this scenario you have savings of $500,000, and for now we're going to ignore income taxes and inflation. And it's a very short-term scenario, so don't worry about that right now. It changes the numbers modestly depending upon the assumptions you make, but it's not a big deal right now. So let's say my Social Security at age 68, which I'm coming up on, is $2,000 a month or $24,000 a year. If I wait till 70, it's $2,400 a month or $28,800 a year. And let's say my expenses are $50,000 a year. We're going to do two different scenarios here. And I just did that to turn my back on you so you see I still have hair in the back. There was no other reason for me turning around there. Okay, so scenario number one is I'm going to take money from my savings to bridge that 2-year gap. Okay? So I'm going to assume my savings are going to grow by 8% a year. Now, again, could be wildly different. They could drop by 20% a year. They can increase by 25% a year. You have to have some number you start with. And you can play with different scenarios. But just to give you an idea, this is a scenario I started with as a basis of my decision. Okay? I'm not going to show you all the different scenarios because there's thousands. But let's go with this. So my savings are going to grow. I'm going to take my money at the beginning of the year, and then my savings are going to grow by 8%. So, if I take that 50,000 a year from my 500,000 and then grow it by 8% each year, trust me on the math here, you can check me out. At the end of those 2 years, I'll have $470,880 left, okay? Plus, at the end of that 2 years, I'll have my age 70 benefit of $28,800. So 2 years from now, I'll have this amount in savings and this amount of a Social Security benefit. All right, so let's talk about withdrawal rates. I'm comfortable at age 70 withdrawing 5% a year from my savings. You have the 4% rate. I'm comfortable with 5 because I'm a little older. On the other hand, my wife's a little younger. You could argue for 3% for her. I'm going to go with 4%, and I come out with a blended rate of 4.5%. 5% for me, 4% for her, 4.5% total, okay? So at 4.5%, after I hit age 70 now, we're going to be able to take out $21,190 from our savings, plus we'll have the $28,800 a year from Social Security, which will give us $49,900, right near that $50,000 mark. Now remember, these are all estimates, so you need to have the flexibility to move if this doesn't work. But what this says is this will work. I'll come in within what I want to withdraw, and with my Social Security, it'll be enough for us to survive. Okay? Now, alternative number 2 is I take Social Security now. So if I do that, I'm at $24,000 a year in my age 68 benefit, which means I need $26,000 additional from my savings for those next 2 years. All right? And if I do that, I'm left with $524,794 in my savings, because I took much less. I only took $26,000 instead of $50,000. So it grew to actually more than it originally was 2 years ago. All right, so now here I am at 70 again. And remember my first scenario, I came out okay. Now, if I take 4.5%, which is as much as I want to take from my savings, that gives me $23,616 a year. And then my $24,000 from Social Security, because remember, I took it early, so I only get 20. I get that lower benefit, not reduced, but just lower. It doesn't grow as much. That gives me $47,616. So you can see in scenario number 2, I'm coming up about $2,400 short. So what does that mean? Well, in this simple scenario, it means I'm better off with scenario number 1, withdrawing my savings and continuing to wait for Social Security until age 70. Now again, a lot of variables, a lot of things can go wrong, a lot of things can change, okay? If after that first year I lost money in my savings, I will reevaluate. If it grows, 30%, reevaluate. I'll have less time to look at, so it'll be a simpler decision, and the variables won't be as wide. But, there's the issue. So, under this scenario, what happens? One of us goes back to work. Maybe for a year or 2 years. Somebody's got to get a job, or we got to cut savings. All right? So, again, this is just indicative of the kind of thing you have to do every single year or when things change. Reevaluate. All right? A lot of things can go wrong here. A lot of things can go better than we expected. A lot of things can be right. So my message here is let life throw you the curveball, because it's going to. Don't panic. I'm not panicking. Well, okay, I panicked one day. And then figure it out. If I don't get back to you guys before, happy holidays, happy New Year's. Please subscribe. Comment about this. What are your questions? What would you do differently? What curveballs has life thrown you where you had to reevaluate your decision? Because there's many. So thanks again for watching, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.